On November 5th, 1975, a man vanishes from a national forest in Arizona. When he reappears, he claims he was taken by something not from our world. Travis Walton was working a forestry contract in the mountains of Arizona, alongside 7 other men. His job was to thin out sections of forest so the remaining trees could grow stronger. It had been a long day of cutting trees. By the time the crew finished, daylight was fading fast. Just after 6 o'clock, they packed their equipment into an old pickup truck and started the drive home. The sun had already disappeared behind the mountains. If everything went as planned, they would be home by 7:30. But nothing went as planned. As the truck rolled down the dark forest road, Travis suddenly noticed a strange light in the distance. At first, he assumed it was the setting sun. Then he remembered something. The sun had gone down nearly 30 minutes earlier. "What the hell is that?" Travis asked. The men stared through the windshield. "I don't know," one of them replied. "Looks like a crashed plane hanging in a tree." The truck came to a stop, and then they saw it. Hovering roughly 20 feet above the ground was what appeared to be a flying saucer. It was golden in color and completely silent. A strange golden glow spilled from the object, illuminating the trees around it. The craft appeared to be about 15 feet in diameter. There were no windows and no doors. Nothing that suggested it had been built by humans. While the others stared in disbelief, Travis made a decision. If this thing could fly away at any moment, he wanted a closer look. Ignoring the warnings from the men behind him, he stepped out of the truck and began walking toward the object. With each step, he noticed something new. It actually wasn't silent. A strange mixture of high-pitched and low-pitched sounds seemed to vibrate through the air around it. Then, the craft began to move. The sound grew louder, and before Travis could react, a bright blue beam shot from the underside of the craft. The blast struck him instantly. The men watched in horror as his body was thrown backward through the air and into the nearby trees. Panic took over. The crew slammed the truck into gear and sped down the dark forest road. But after several moments, something didn't make sense. The object wasn't following them. In fact, when they looked back, the craft was gone. Travis suddenly woke up. There was a metallic taste in his mouth. His vision was blurred, but it slowly began to clear. He realized he was lying inside a room with a strange triangular shape. Then it hit him. The craft, the beam of light, everything that had happened in the forest. As his awareness returned, he noticed something else. The air was thick and hot, and around his body was a metallic device fitted tightly against him. Suddenly, figures began entering the room. At first, he thought they were doctors, nurses, medical staff. They wore orange surgical clothes and masks. But as his vision sharpened, something became wrong. Very, very wrong. Their eyes. They were huge, dark, unnatural. Travis pushed himself off the table, panic setting in. The figures didn't stop him. He dropped to the floor, his body barely responding. But he managed to grab a metal rod nearby. When he turned back around, he saw them clearly. They were not human. Short in stature, with oversized bald heads, pale skin, and small chins that looked almost unfinished. And those eyes, large, reflective, lifeless. They kept coming toward him. Travis swung the rod wildly, forcing them back. For a moment, they stopped. Then, without warning, they turned and left. Silence filled the room. Travis didn't understand what was happening. He began moving through the craft, searching for an exit. That's when he encountered more of them. These looked more human, more familiar. But when he spoke, they didn't respond. They didn't even look at him. Instead, they approached him calmly, and everything went black. Travis woke up back in the forest. At first, he didn't understand where he was. Then it all came rushing back. He ran, through the trees, through the darkness, straight back toward the job site. When he finally arrived, he found a phone and called his sister. His brother-in-law answered, and his voice immediately changed when he heard Travis. He didn't believe it. He thought it was a joke, a cruel one. Travis tried to explain, tried to convince him, but the man refused to accept it. Eventually, after a long and tense call, he agreed to come to the site. When the truck finally arrived, the men inside stared at Travis in disbelief. He was alive. He was really there. The ride back was quiet at first. Then Travis began to talk. He told them everything that had happened. The light, the craft, the beings, the table. The last thing he expected was they told him next. He had not just been gone for a few hours or even overnight. He had been missing for 5 days. Travis Walton's story is one of the most well-known UFO abduction stories just because of the fact that his story has stayed the same for a really long time. He has told his story countless times in different websites, media, interviews, and his story is always the same. Is this all a hoax? Did this man actually get abducted back in that Arizona forest? See you next time.